Alright, it's video time. Let's see, what should I do this time? Looks like I haven't made a gaming video in a while. Oh, but I still gotta keep Avatar Month going. I wonder how I could achieve both of these things with one action. Nah, nothing comes to mind.
Water. Earth. Fire. Air. The Legend of Korra was, as most of you know, the continuation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and as with most successful properties, tie-in games are a given. Released in 2014 by Platinum Games, it's the now infamous Legend of Korra game. Platinum Games has been pretty hit or miss over the course of their existence, and I've heard very mixed things about this game.
So in an effort to spend the least amount of my barely existent funds as possible, I picked the game up on Steam for about $3, and I just knew that I had to do a video on it. So let's take a look and see if The Legend of Korra is really as bad of a game as people say it is.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty, I first want to say that this game is not very user-friendly. The default settings are 1280 by 720 in windowed mode. Okay, no big deal, I'll just change the settings. What I had to do, and sorry there's no footage of it, was change the resolution, apply it, and do it for every option until I got the one I wanted. Most games have you set it to the one you want and then apply, but this is just poorly designed. I shouldn't have to set every option until I get my desired graphical quality. I don't know if this is something that Platinum Games is known to do, and I know it's kind of nitpicky, but it was just a minor annoyance that kind of annoyed me. That was redundant. Once we actually start up the game, it plays the show's intro, literally pulled straight from an episode. From there, we're thrown into an opening cinematic that was clearly not done by Studio Mir. It looks really choppy and not very fluid at all. It could have been worse, but it's pretty meh. We're then thrown into a gameplay section where we fight off a bunch of spirits with all the elements at full power. It controls really well and it feels awesome to bend all the elements at their full power. For whatever reason, we have Tenzin narrating over the fight to introduce the player to all the elements, even though we just saw him like a minute ago in the intro. I mean, come on, my attention span isn't that short. I mean, oh, look, a butterfly.
It's pro bending night once again in the semi-final.
Oh, it's gonna be one of those stories. Okay, whatever, that'll probably be important. So now we're in another cutscene in a pro bending match. They got all the voice actors to come back for this game, but Mako and Bolin are only there for like 30 seconds until they're knocked out. Great, now I gotta fight these chumps by myself. Thanks for nothing, guys, thanks for nothing. For whatever reason, they wanted to teach us how the pro bending mode works now, but that mode isn't unlocked until after you complete the story mode. So why teach me this now if I'm not going to use it until later? It's actually pretty fun though. The controls of this mode are a bit weird because they encourage you to use this aiming feature to change your target, but it doesn't work very well. It's not very responsive and just clunky among all the inputs that already exist. Now would probably be a good time to mention that I played this using a 360 controller and not a keyboard and mouse. The game recommends you to do this for some reason, probably because Platinum doesn't want you to be good at this game. Whatever, we beat this. Boop, bop, pow. Then there's this cutscene with one of the triad groups talking to this old dude. If I were a criminal organization, I would definitely not take orders from this guy. He looks like the kind of guy who'd try and sneak pictures of people's feet at the beach. He's definitely into some weird stuff, I can tell you that much. As it turns out, this guy is working with the triads and the chi blockers to take away Korra's bending. They block your chi, and the goal of most of the game is to get Korra's bending back. Quick tangent. What I don't get is why the chi blockers are here. The game is supposed to take place after Season 2, and the Equalists are long gone, so why do they exist? Whatever, who cares? So to get your bending back, you have to do specific tasks. For example, to get water bending, you have to find spirit water. A lot of people have gripes with this though. For example, to regain Korra's earth bending, you have to perform 4 counterattacks, but only in a specific boss fight. I've already completed enough of those, so why restrict my progress? It's a gameplay flaw that they try to work into the story, but it doesn't really make sense. Firebending, for example, you need to get a combo of 40. The only problem is, I've already done that earlier in the game, so realistically I should have firebending already, but it only works in this specific section of the game. I understand that this hindrance exists to prevent the player from being too powerful early on, but my counter to that is that if the player is doing good, then they should be rewarded for that. I understand why it's there, but it could have been implemented better. Pokemon is a good example of this. You can over-level your team to where the game should be much easier, but you need the right amount of gym badges to control your team. If The Legend of Korra was Pokemon, then this game wouldn't let you pass level 20 without the correct gym badge. For whatever reason, the beginning of this game has a bit of platforming that is never seen again for the rest of the game. There's also a shop system where you could buy new combos and items to help you in fights. There's this thing which gives you full health, there's the spirit water that'll revive you if you die. I personally don't have an issue with this system, but it's something that should be optional, but is basically required for the more difficult parts of the game. Speaking of difficulty, there was a huge difficulty spike in the last level of this game. Look at this. This spirit takes up half the screen and can barely see what I'm doing. Well, it's a miracle I got out of that one alive. I hope I don't have to do that again. Oh, come on. This is gonna suck. Oh, there's 2 of them! There's 2 of them! What demented soul made this game? This is one of those games where the enemies don't get harder, they just slap on more health to make it feel harder. The triads are just reskins of each other and don't act any differently. The first time you fight them is a bit hard, but it gets easier each time because the AI doesn't change, they just have more health. Yo, is that my boy Two-Toed Ping? Yo, shout out to my mans over here. Not only are the enemies unbalanced, so are the elements themselves. Some elements are way more useful than others. Waterbending is really only good for long-range combat, earthbending deals massive damage and is good for small scuffles, and airbending is just completely broken. You could take out a huge group just by spamming Y with airbending. Firebending is completely useless in this game. You'd think that you'd be able to shoot fireballs at people, but only a specific aerial attack can do that, and it leaves you vulnerable while you're doing it, kinda like Pharah's ult from Overwatch. It's also just really weak in general that you have no real reason to use it. It sucks too, because fire is probably the coolest element out of the 4, but you barely end up using it. These are my element levels at the end of my first playthrough. Earth is the second element you get, and it's so useful that it's already maxed out. You get airbending right before the final level, and it was almost on par with my waterbending by the end. It's ironically unbalanced.
So I've pointed out a lot of the negatives about this game so far, but there are some positives to it.
The combat in this game is really well done, feels natural, and it's reminiscent of the Batman Arkham games. Beat 'em up games are always fun in my book. It's super satisfying to upgrade and level up your abilities, and it makes you feel even more powerful. For the brief moments you use the avatar state in, it's a bit underwhelming, but awesome nonetheless. Despite all of its glaring flaws, The Legend of Korra is a really fun game, and I'll definitely come back to play through this on hard mode someday so I can have all my bending from the start and kick some butt.
So all in all, would I recommend The Legend of Korra? It. The game has a lot of flaws, but it is super fun to beat people up. We've had a lot of Avatar games over the years, but we've never had one quite like this, and honestly, this is what an Avatar game should be.
Other Avatar games have you using the elements when they're convenient, but mostly sticking to just one. In this game, you could switch it at will and go nuts.
I probably wouldn't pay the full $15 asking price, but if you're a fan of Avatar or The Legend of Korra, then I definitely recommend that you pick this game up. Get it on sale though. It's fun, but it ain't that fun. Before I end off this video, I wanted to announce that I'm going to be live streaming this game the night that the last Avatar Month video goes out, which is next week, or a week from today. So if you want to watch me play this game on either on hard mode or doing the pro bending mode, then definitely come to my live stream next week. I'll try around 8 p.m. or 7ish. I don't really know what time. Follow me on Twitch, which it's in the description. The link is in the description. I am not good at unscripted things, but that is all for this video. My name is Matt, Chugging Games, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.